Hey, you guys, all right? Dave Way here at the Way Station, and I'm going to show you 5 of some of my favorite plugins. Recording here yesterday, last night, a band called 7 Horse were in here. They're coming back in about half an hour, and we're just going to use some of the tracks from this session last night for you to hear some of these. This first one I'm going to show you is a saturation plugin that I don't think a lot of people know about this one because I love it. It's called Reamp, and it's made by KLEVGR, is I believe how you pronounce the company's name. They make some cool plugins, but this one I keep returning to because it's got a little more tweakability than some of the other saturation plugins. All right, so here's just some DI bass. I'm gonna show you, so we've got here, these are different models. This cassette deck one I actually like a lot. I wouldn't necessarily use that for this, but it's very cool. They actually make a separate cassette plugin too, which is like this model, but with a whole bunch more tweakability, and it's cool. I think it defaults to the 1/4-inch tape reel. Right now, we've got some kind of drive, which is what you would think. It's kind of these 4 bands. I don't know, I can't even see what the numbers are on there. It doesn't really give frequencies, but it's basically, this is lows, right? That's kind of a thickness, somewhere around 200, maybe a little bit lower, 150. Not too much frequencies in there. That's more like 3K. And here's just some very bright stuff. Normally, you'd really hear that sizzle, but this is a bass, so we're not hearing much up there. And then there's post. So this is an EQ after the fact. And I said, like, we don't have particular frequencies, but you can hear this has got some nice thickness to it. Now see, we've got 3 kind of options for how much harmonics are introduced. For the most part, I keep it on all because we've got a mix control here, which we all love. Every plugin should have a mix knob. So this 1/4-inch tape saturation model, I like that a lot. I do, and it defaults to that, so I often use that one. But then we've also got some clean tube preamp, and this is a little subtler. And then there's this driven one, which is maybe a little bit, let's compare those. See, the 1/4-inch, you're getting that fuzz kind of distortion on it because the preamp is being overloaded. Gonna make these a little more extreme. And this one's got some more drive. Which tends to work well on a bass, actually, you know, because bass, as you've probably found, like I have, is that distortion on bass, you know, it could sound completely fuzzed out and distorted when you have it in solo, and then when you put it in the track, all of a sudden it just, you know, you don't hear any of that. You know what? I could put this on, let's try putting some of this on some drums here. Let's go with, well, let's just start here. So now I can. That sounds pretty good right there, actually. I'm gonna boost some of this. See, now you can hear some of that high end on that high band. Sounds nice, actually. That's without it. We have improved. Cool. Well, that'll give you some of what Reamp does. I like that plugin. One of my favorite reverbs lately is this Cinematic Rooms, which is by a company called Liquid Sonics. This is a beautiful sounding reverb. One of the other things I like a lot about it, and one of the reasons why I bought it, is that it's multi-channel, so I can use this in Atmos and 5.1. So this has been getting a lot of use here at the Way Station. Let's see, I'll show you some of this. Turn it up. I like the name of this one, Helios Space, because we're doing a Led Zeppelin-y kind of track here, as you can hear. So, you know, I don't know if Helios Space has nothing to do with the console, I'm sure, but probably why I picked this here. But there's, you know, always a million kinds of chambers and halls, non-limbs. This is, it defaults to this one, and actually, here's our dry wet here. You can also kind of taper it for more of the reflections against the end and the reverb side. I think it defaults in the middle. Then there's modulation if you want to increase the modulation, which sounds nice, particularly on vocals. I haven't gotten into some of these character. I don't know if I ever really mess around with that too much, but you can. Okay, yeah, I hear a difference there on the width. So we got, you know, an EQ here on the reflections. So you got kind of two windows, one for the reflections, the early reflections, and one for the reverb. So you can kind of have the reflections be brighter than the reverb, or vice versa. Reverb time, obviously. This bloom is nice. Let me make it a little more extreme so you can hear it. Well, we got it very long here. But this lets you kind of, it's just kind of like the duration, I guess, yeah, the duration of the, I guess between, you know, between the reflections and the reverb. Let you hear some of the, let me give you a nice long tail here, you can hear it. Ah, sweet. When I'm in multi-channel Atmos or 5.1, I can kind of take the reverb completely out of the center channel, which is something that we'll often need to do most of the time. Let me see what other kind of, they got some inverse and non-lin. This one's kind of fun. Kind of sounds good for this one, actually. Sometimes I just very quickly go for a preset, something that I've used before that I like, or have tweaked something and save it and return to it later. I mean, for me, tweaking on reverbs is usually a matter of the reverb time and the pre-delay and maybe the EQ for the tail. I don't go too crazy tweaking. You can tweak reverbs forever. It's really a matter of getting the timing of it, I find, just to where it sits and feels good with the track. But Cinematic Rooms is fantastic. I like this one a lot. This is something different. It's called Track Spacer, and it's like a multi-band compressor side chain. I will put it on the bass and trigger it from the kick drum, which is so that, when the bass and kick are hitting together, it's going to duck the bass just a little bit so that the kick can punch a bit more. So let's go here to bus 4, and I'll send this pre-fader. And so now you'll see, right? So now it kind of, you can see the kind of frequency spectrum of the source that you're triggering with, right? So, but what's nice and simple about this is just being able to change the cutoff for the lows and the highs. And usually how I'll use this is where, if I'm using it for vocals and kind of dipping the track a little bit, you're just gonna, dip it just a little bit here to where the mid-range, where the vocal area is just getting ducked a bit. I'll do it a little bit more extreme here with bass. So when see, so you can hear there where the kick and the bass are hitting together. The bass is ducking. I would usually probably keep it somewhere. But what this will help with is just when the track's playing, the bass will just, you don't need to hear so much of the attack on the bass. You really want to hear the attack on the kick drum more than on the bass. And so on a song like this, where they're very often playing together, it's just going to favor the kick drum all the time, which is what we want in this kind of situation. Yeah, so this is a great easy side chaining plugin. You could use a C4 or C6 with side chain and do the same kind of thing. So if you don't have this plugin, you could do something similar. But I don't think this is expensive. I think it was, $75 or something like that. Maybe I might be wrong. I don't know what it is. But I've been using it a lot, actually, and finding I've never been one to do too much side chaining, because I know that that's a trend these days, and a lot of people side chain everything. But I'll just try and find ways to use it subtly, just to kind of help clean some things up. One of my favorite plugins that I use kind of everywhere is the Andrew Sheps. Look, it's in my favorites right here. Sheps Omni-channel. This does everything you need it, because Andrew thinks of everything. He's got it all figured out. Thank you, Andrew, for figuring it all out for us. But this is a great channel strip, and you can order these however you like. You can just move them around. But I tend to keep it the way it's set up. Sometimes I'll move my EQ after the compressor. But so we've got some distortion and some filters here, a button called thump, which adds a little thump in the low end, as you might expect it. And then a nice gate. It's got side chaining also, which we could have done with the kind of similar without the multiband aspect of it. We could have done that with this plugin. It's got a great de-esser, and it's got two, right? The top section is kind of defaults to where normally S's fall, so it's in the high frequencies, like just below whatever that is, 5K or something like that. But this bottom one here is kind of defaults to like some low areas where it's not really a de-esser, but it's a multi-band that's tuned down there that can help clean up some mud, or you can clean up some mid-range that's just poking out, if you're down like lower than where the S's is, but if it's in a guitar track or something else. So I find having these two bands of de-essing is really nice. I forgot to talk about this. This is a very cool thing where you can put this, not only do you have the distortion and the filter and the filters, a gate, two de-essers, a compressor that's got three separate kind of models, VCA, FET, and opto, and a great EQ. You've also got this insert where I can add any of my plugins to, here, I'll just throw Manny's EQ in there. So now this is in my chain, wherever it was that I wanted to put it. So I could move it also, down here at the end. I could put a reverb in there. I could put, any other plugin that I have into this channel strip also. So this is a great, and I can bypass it if I want. And then there's also a kind of a limiting stage at the very end. So let me see, I'll just start playing this and you can see what it sounds like. I love the compressors. VCA is great for drums in particular. And then there's a mix blend down here. The default, what I love about it is all the default settings sound great. So I very often, I'm in love with, what is it? We got 3 milliseconds. But I kind of don't find like I have to tweak these very much because they just sound great right off the top. So let me turn off the bass for a second. We can just hear this a bit more of the. So we're hearing this on the kick and snare bus right now. See, FET's a little smoother, not quite as aggressive. And then opto. Let me turn off this other compressor so we're not hearing two. Put it on here also. There you go. Woo! See, now we're hearing it on the kind of the rest of the kit there. Now you can hear what it's doing. See, that's kind of soft sounding. So here, let me check out some of the distortion. Odd harmonics, even harmonics, and then the heavy settings. Ready? Oh, there you go. I'm gonna. That's weird. Where did the bass come from? See me softening up that. high-end hi-hat stuff that's really getting crazy now with the distortion. Yeah, and then like I said, there's a limiter down here at the end. Andrew's thought of everything. This is just my go-to. Oh, I didn't even show you the EQ. You guys getting tired of this groove yet? All right, there's Andrew's wonderful channel strip. And let's see, how about, there's another plugin that I like that I kind of just started using. I can't even remember how I found out about this plugin, but it's called Ambio Orbit, that's what it's called. And it's a panner, right? I think I got this because I was using the Sennheiser Ambio microphone, which is a ambisonic multi-capsule microphone. And it needed a plugin with that, and I downloaded Sennheiser's plugin bundle, and this came with it. And then one day I opened it up and started playing around. So you'll see it took that mono track and turned it into a stereo track. And what it does is it kind of gives us a binaural kind of representation. So you'll notice I pan it to the left, but I'm still hearing some low-end kind of information on the right side. And then also gives me a behind you kind of sensation by further filtering. I think elevation. See, then it becomes almost gone. Clarity, I believe, is just kind of, I don't know what it does. I was gonna say, you know, increases high-end directionality stuff, but yeah, it does. And so this setting here, drapes or curtains, a brick wall, it's kind of when you're panning it to one side and you're hearing still some of that other information in the other channel, that's simulating what it sounds like when your ear, if you have something here, you're still hearing that sound come over to your other ear. You know, it's not discreetly, it's not like your right ear turns off. So you're hearing a delayed, filtered version that kind of, you know, uses the shape of your head and the density of your head combined with your brain to tell you that the sound is coming from this side. But I like this plugin. Sometimes I'll use it just to play something statically, so it's not, you know, moving, but it does give you a different kind of feeling for something coming out of the, you know, left or right speaker. But I do often use it, you know, automate, if I can go up here and automate all those parameters and start panning stuff instead of auto panning. I find this very kind of effective for something that you want to get psychedelic with. All right, there you go. There's 5 of my favorite plugins, at least for the last couple of months. Tune in again in 6 months, we'll find 5 more.